Good morning, 5th grade. This is Miss Banis. I just wanted to post this video to help you review how we did our radial name design. And this is one of my examples that I had on the board before we left class. So I will explain how we created the radial name design and give you the other example. I don't know if you remember, but we started with a square of paper. I had you fold it into the taco fold, folded it in half like a triangle, and create your letters going from the top edge of your triangle to the bottom. If you drew your letter and it didn't reach the top, that was kind of a critical factor in how the design was going to come out. So I asked you to stretch your letters up to that edge. Once you've drawn your letters, and I think I told you they could be your initials, or they could just be letters that you like the way they look together, or maybe they were initials for your favorite superhero, or who knows, whatever. Once you have your letters on there, drawn with pencil, you outline in Sharpie or permanent marker. I suppose a Crayola marker would work okay as a substitution, but it just might smear more easily. Once you've traced it with Sharpie, and you open it up, you need to trace the inside of it as well. And then lay the other side over and trace. You should be able to see through and trace it, and then vice versa. So you end up with this square of paper that's been traced with Sharpie on all four sides. And it's important to trace it all the way around because we're going to be transferring that image to our final paper. So I'm gonna show you how to do this starting from scratch. I'm sure some of you are already past this point where you've traced it onto your final paper, but just in case, if you wanted to start again, I'll start those directions. This example I colored with marker and colored pencil. So the letters that I traced, I did with marker. It doesn't really matter what colors you choose. If you want to be selective about it, you can choose warm colors, cold colors, or whatever palette you're attracted to. So I just chose pink, yellow, and turquoise. And then in the empty spaces that aren't letters, I did colored pencil, and I did a value scale. So we'll talk about that after I do my next example. But what we're gonna do is, I don't have that big drawing paper, and I wasn't able to send that home with you guys. So hopefully everybody has a sheet of printer or copy paper that you can use. So it's 8.5 by 11, and we need to make a square. And to do that, we're gonna fold this edge and to match this edge. Let's see if I can. So basically you do that triangle fold. I wish I could zoom out more. This is the best I can do. And you'll have this excess piece here. So you'll need to cut that off. And the piece that we're going to be tracing underneath here, the square, we're going to need to cut from a separate piece of copy paper because this leftover scrap is not going to be big enough to make that square. So our square, I'm going to teach you a cheat, otherwise you could certainly use a ruler. But once you fold this 2 times, that's the size of the square we need from our separate piece of paper. So you're going to grab one more piece of copy paper and work smarter, not harder. Line it up to the very edge, and you should have a pencil handy, a pair of scissors, and a Sharpie. And then when you're almost near the end, you can have those other drawing or coloring materials. So boom, I'm just gonna cut that square out. So again, work smarter, not harder. Maybe I might make a mistake, so I'm gonna cut a couple squares out. I'm gonna fold it in half, so I'll get 2. Okay, so once I have this cut out, and save this for something else. I have 2 squares. I'm going to put one aside, And I'm gonna fold this to make a little taco. This is so we can create the letters like we talked about before. Wow, my measuring must have been really off. Let's just make sure this square fits. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not perfect. I'm not worried about perfect though. And if this really bugs you, you could try to trim it off, but I'm afraid we might just end up trimming and trimming and trimming and then not have the right size. So I am going to do the letters for my cats since I'm home and I'm looking at my cats all the time. So Buster and Winston. So I'm gonna do a B and see how I have, hopefully that helps. Just drawn in pencil. Oh, Buster might come visit our video making process. A BW for Buster and Winston. So now I'm going to take my Sharpie. I have a brown Sharpie because that's what I have. Couldn't find a black one. But as long as it's a dark color and it's a permanent marker that won't smudge or smear. Buster is really interested in what I'm doing, so he might make an appearance. Okay, so once you've traced it, open it up. I know it already looks like I can see it really well, but I'm gonna go ahead and just trace it again, nice and crisp, so that when I have to rotate my square, I will be able to see all the letters through the other paper. Oops. Now I fold that triangle and I can see those letters, and I'm going to go ahead and trace this. Oops. And then open it up and trace this last side. If you get permanent marker bleeding through onto your surface, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser works really good to get it off, or rubbing alcohol, which I know is in short supply these days. So you could always put something else underneath so you don't mess up your other space. I don't really care about this table because it's my art table. Okay, so now that I've got my letters onto my square, I'm going to take my square of paper. It's not critical that you fold the triangle, but remember I had to make a square from a rectangle, so I had to fold it that way initially. So this part's kind of important. You need to decide which letter is going to be facing the center of the paper. So if I rotate this so that the B faces the center, points to the center, I'm gonna end up with this really cool B pattern all the way in the middle. It'll look kind of like lace once I've rotated it. If I do the W, it'll be kind of a triangle with, yeah, triangular design. So let's, I'm gonna go ahead and trace this and then join you again in another video.